Stirring the Nest, an eagle's lesson on God's love. As I said, we often sing that song, and then we get to the point where in the song where it says, mount up on wings like an eagle and soar. That's always so freeing to me, even in the song. And as I'm going throughout the week and I hum that from time to time, it's freeing to me. And I said, well, Lord, to mount up on wings like an eagle, an eagle is one of your strongest birds. And when we think about an eagle, what do you think about? Valor. You think about strength. You think about I immediately think about his talons, or the bird's talons, and just think about even the hard life that the eagle, American eagle, eagles in general, how their life has been one hard. It's not as easy as we think it is. Being one of God's creatures that flies in the air. Their lives have been near extinction and still is to a certain degree. So in thinking about that and all of the challenges that they go through as one of God's many creations, I began to do a little bit more research into, well, how it is that they begin how once they're born, how do they survive? How do they come to be this mighty, strong eagle that we see when we go in the zoo? Because for a lot of us, that's the only time we've ever seen them, when we go to the zoos. And then we just stand and we look at them, but even then, at that point, if they're in captivity, they've been injured in some way. So we're still not seeing them in their best valor, in the best light that God has created them in. We're seeing them in, a state of recovery. But to actually be able to witness all of God's greatness that in the creation of this bird, and how he was, used in the scriptures as an example. That was a question that came to me. It was like, Lord, why did Moses use the eagle? Why did you have him to use that eagle? What is it that you want me to learn from this eagle, other than just what I know on the surface about his strength? What is it that you want me to learn from this eagle that's going to help me be a better me? It's going to help me be a stronger person. And as I began to do the research and start with that little baby eagle, that fledgling, and how the parent begins to care for their little babies. As parent eagles, they invest a lot of time in nurturing their young. They take a vigilant watch as the parent eagles. Well, what about God? What about God? Is he not investing a lot of time? Is he not watching over us vigilantly? So, as most of the songs that were sung this morning, it was one to know that you're not alone. One to know that you're not forsaken, as his scriptures have told us. To know that he loves us. To know that he knows your name. So he's not leaving you. So if he knows your name, he's that parent. We all, for us that are parents, we have children and we know their names. Sometimes we might have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, and you might get them a little crossed up, like your grandmamas used to do. Come here, Claudia, Tootie, Jim, somebody, come here. You know who I'm talking to. Get here. They knew your name and they eventually got to it. But they knew you, and they knew not just your name, they knew you as that person. But, just looking at, all that they do as that parent eagle during the incubation of that egg, and spending that time, the egg is never left unattended. It's always that parent eagle is always there with their wings spread, protecting that egg. Protecting that fledgling after it was hatched out. Wings always spread and in that covering. Once that fledgling begins to grow and develop, Early on, the parent eagles cater to their eaglets' every need. They bring them food. They don't just bring the food and drop it off. What do we do, mommies, when our babies stop suckling milk and they start eating table food? And grandmamas were good for it. They just put it in there, chew it up, take it out, and give it to them. But, you know, as mommies, we began to do puree, or we sat there and we cut it up in little tiny pieces and made sure that it was safe and something that they could handle and was digestible. And that's what the parent eagle does as they're nurturing their little babies along. Soon after they've done that, then they move on and say, okay, now I'm going to just start bringing it by and dropping it off, because I've showed you how to use your beaks to tear this meat apart. Because once they bring it, they sit there, the mother or the father, whoever's doing the feeding at that time, because the beauty of studying the eagles, they're monogamous, and not only that, they share in their parenting. So it was no, okay, mama, this is your role, and you're going to do this, and I'm going to just go over here, and I'm going to sit on this limb out here and just watch. No, they co-parent, they share in that responsibility. So once they've taught them by example, showing them how they're tearing this meat apart with their beaks, then they start just bringing it and dropping it off and leaving it for them. And then they'll go and fly and sit over in another tree and watch them. They're never too far away, but now they've stopped holding their hands and they just step back a little bit. They open up their circle. They say, okay, I'm giving you some more independence. Now this fledgling sitting there saying, I got to figure out how to do this. After a couple of days of being hungry, that fledgling figures out, that baby figures out, let me get in here, and I remember I saw mom and daddy do this, let me try it, and it works out for them, and they begin to eat. Now they're gaining strength. So as Elder was speaking in between selections, or right before we got up to speak, that when people say, well, if God was, real and he loved us, why does he let us go through these things? Hold on, you're about to find out. Parent eagles, after they've gotten them to that point of now you know how to tear your food apart, what comes next? Mommies, daddies, when we have our little ones, they're able to sit and feed themselves, they're crawling around, but eventually something comes next. They have to learn how to walk. So the little fledgling that is now growing into this eaglet is now needing to learn how to leave the nest. So what happens? Mama, daddy come over, and they start shaking their wings violently, fluttering it around at the nest. So what happens? If we take something out and we start shaking it, what happens? Everything that's in it starts to fall out. So mom and dad have worked really hard to make this nest as comfortable as they possibly can. They pull their down feathers and they blind it and know it's like warm and cushiony. But now I've given you the hint. I've taught you how to feed yourself. You know how to wait for me. You know how to look for me. You know that I'm not far away. So now it's time to move on to the next thing. So mommy, daddy starts fluttering their wings violently. And all the down feathers start to fall out. They do it every time they come to the nest. They do that. Now the mud starts to break apart. So what's happening to that nest? It's starting to get a little rickety. The mom, the dad, they're shaking the nest up to make it not comfortable on purpose. Why does God allow the things that happen in our lives to happen? Now, someone will think, okay, that's kind of cruel. Mom and dad come stir that nest up like that, shaking everything around. Little baby had never flown. Well, little baby's got to fly, else little baby's going to fall either way. Now, the eagle's nest is high up, so that's a long fall. But mom and dad they've trained this eaglet. They've given them what they needed. But if they're not ever tested, they never know that they can do it. They never really know what they have. Why does God allow us to go through the things that we go through? Why does God stir our nest? Eventually, after they've stirred the nest, the eaglet now begins to stand on the edge and rock and peer and rock. Because I can't sit down in the middle anymore because the sticks and things are poking through. So I got to do something. parents fly by, and then they go, and the eaglet watches their parents fly off and perch yet again in another tree far away. But they're close enough that they can get to them if they need to. The eaglet eventually stands on the side of the nest and start flapping their wings, because I see mom and dad flying away and they're flapping their wings. So I've got to flap my wings. I've got to strengthen them. So what came to mind is when I had a little parakeet, and the little parakeet used to do that every now and then, get on the side and just go, and I was like, stop it! Because I'm worried about what's got to be cleaned up. I never understood until really just getting into detail, studying the eagles. He was doing that to strengthen his wings, as if he was really going to fly somewhere. But this is what the eaglet does. Because mom and dad, they've taken the comforts away. They've taken away that comfort zone for me. So I've got to stand on what they've taught me here in this nice warm cocoon. And here under their protection. For weeks they've taught me this. So as Christians, we also experience that. God allows us to experience that. He is that parent, as we've heard in many, many messages from all of us as the ministers that we've shared with you. He is the parent. But now looking at him from that eagle standpoint, that strength, understand why he allows our nest to be stirred. Because he's pouring into us. But if we're never tested, if things are not allowed to happen so that we can begin to stand on that he has given us, we'll never know. We'll sit there in that cocoon and just keep letting them feed us. Keep letting us feed us. We'll sit there in that nest, keep feeding me. Keep feeding me. Yes, this is good. I understand it. But do we really understand it? It has to be applied. You have to begin to experience the life applications of what God is pouring into us. So why does God stir our nest? Like the eagles, we are encouraged to take flight. But remember and keep in mind that God is not far. He's not far. He's not going to let anything happen to us anymore than what he's already prepared and trained us for. He's already fed into us and nurtured us up. Turn with me to Exodus chapter 19, verse 4. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. He said, now you already seen that in the toughest of times when he brought them out. When he said, Moses, you guys are getting ready to come out. Don't worry. I can handle it. I can handle the Egyptians. I'm going to bring you out of Egypt. You just do what I've been telling you, what I'm telling you to do. He said, you've already seen this, so don't doubt me. Understand that I've got you. I've prepared you for this. You know, sometimes we get in the middle of stuff and it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is happening to me. All that I do, I just can't seem to push forward. I just can't seem to get it right. All that I do, when I think I'm over one thing, something else attacks my body. What, Lord, is going on? Why is this happening to me? He's stirring your nest. He's getting rid of the comfort. He wants you to stand up on those legs of faith. As God blessed us a couple weeks ago, and I thank God for all the messages that God has put together, have sewn together. But, you know, as God, a couple weeks back, as God blessed us to come, focused. Where is your faith fixed? What is your faith fixed on? Where is it? As God's continued to just pour and weave this together for us, we know that he's preparing us. See, because we can't now, We got to get out of this comfortable nest that he's built for us all this time, because things are going to start taking place around us, already taking place around us. Not just human against human, man against man, but now, we've got the events of nature that are taking place around us. Are we going to be shaken to nervousness to the point of losing sleep, running scared, like some of we will see and are seeing people run scared? As I was looking at the news and I said, Lord, I thank you for your understanding. I thank you for your grace. I thank you for your mercy. Because if not, I would be, in the probable, I would be right where everybody else was. Friday night, Thursday night, Friday night, going out in the mob of Black Friday, getting all their holiday shopping done. And I said, Lord, I thank you for your word. Because in all of that and seeing everyone running and pushing and fighting. Now God said all that he has created and all that he has established is good. So what's good about fighting over man-made materials? What's good about you fighting your neighbor? But God tells us in his commandments to do what? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So why are you in the store in here fighting? This is not a time, this is not what God has ordained in his word, that we're to be out and about and in all of this, because now you find yourself in this mob. But I thank God for his blessings of understanding and say, hey, go to my word. Let me show you. These are the times that you're to come and assemble yourselves together on my holy days. These are the times that I've set for you to give me praise and glory. Of course, every day, but these are times of high praise and glory. I thank God for showing me this. So now, hey, we don't have to run out here and get caught up in all of this, get hit over the head and running. And then I was had to go into the Walmart to get some food items and just begin to pray. Lord, I thank you. I was thanking him in Walmart. I'm just in here for food items. Some of these very people that are in here shopping are going to be needing food in a couple days. But where's their money? They've spent it on they spent money they don't have. Lord, I thank you for blessing me and blessing my family to understand the times that we're to give you that high praise, that glory. I thank you, God. Then he said, look at what I did. Look at how I loosened your nest. Look how I strengthened you in that. Now, it wasn't years ago, I'd have been, probably a little bit upset that I wasn't. It's not that I couldn't, because I could, but that I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go out and do this. Years ago, I would have been like, well, I don't know, I'm going to take advantage of this, No, I was perfectly content. And I thank God for that understanding. But did that just happen? No. My nest was shaken years ago at the age of 12. At the age of 12, my nest was shaken. And I wasn't too happy about it then. But look at God now. I'm 48 years old. You do the math. God's time is not our time. He's patient, like the eagles. They're patient with they're patient with their eaglets. They take every day and they build upon each thing that they're teaching them, and they take time to allow and sit back and see that growth. Then they say, okay, now it's time to go and shake the nest a little bit. Let's get them out of there. Let's get them up. Let's test that faith. Let's test that knowledge, that understanding. Turn with me to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 10 through 12. This is where God finds us. he found him speaking talking about inheritance here, but verse 10, he found him in a desert land and in the wasteland, a howling wilderness. He encircled him. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. Verse 10, we find ourselves there, walking around in the desert of whatever our circumstances may be. We feel like we are all dried up. We're out here alone. That's when you feel like you're in the desert. I'm out here right by myself. Nobody understands what's going on. So even as teenagers, as young adults, as senior adults, we have those times in our lives that we find ourselves going through. And as ministered last week by Minister Sproul, we oftentimes figure, don't nobody know what's going on with me. And then we begin to, we know how to smile and hold our countenance up and cover it up. But on the inside, we're drying up. It's dry. It's a desert land. It's a wasteland. But who's not far away? And in the wasteland, a howling wilderness. That wilderness of circumstance, whatever that may be. He encircled him. Who encircled him? God. He instructed him. He told him what he needed to do and how he needed to do it. He kept him as the apple of his eye. He never lost sight. God said, you're the apple of my eye. I have you. Yes, you're going through right now, but I'm teaching you. I'm instructing you. I'm strengthening you. Verse 11, as an eagle stirs up its nest, hovers over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up, carrying them on its wings. As the eagle. God is the eagle for us. He sets his best examples through his creation. And when you look at nature and all that God has done within nature, all that he's showing us, and we just sit back and observe it, he's saying, here I am. Why are you feeling bewildered? Why are you feeling alone? Look at nature. Look at what I've done and what I'm doing in nature. I've set that example there for you. I've never left you. I'm right here. I've got you protected. I've been teaching you all along. Trust me. Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear nor be afraid of them, for the Lord your God, he is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. He's not left you. He just went over. He gave you some space. He's gone over and he's watching you. He's observing you. And to see, are they going to stand on those legs of faith and all that I'm pouring into them? Are they going to begin to stretch their wings and begin to want to take flight in all that I've poured into them? I've purposed these tests. I've purposed these trials to strengthen them, to cause you to begin to use that beak to pull apart that meat, his word, and to begin to digest it so that it can strengthen you even more, so that when you're in the midst of that trial, you're not sitting there crying, woe is me. When things are not going right, they're not falling like you want, the dominoes that fall in line. You're not going to get frustrated, upset, and bent out of shape. You're going to begin to use that beak to pull in that meat. And then you're going to remember. You're going to get in that word. And God's going to bless you to remember. I'm right here. I've already poured into you what you need to get through this. Do you trust me? I haven't left you. I'm observing you. Why does God allow our nest to be shaken? To strengthen us. Romans chapter 5 verses 3 through 5. And not only that, but we also glory in tribulation, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. Now, hope does not disappoint, because the love of God has been poured out in our hearts by the Holy Spirit who was given to us. God blessed us with his Holy Spirit through his Son, our Lord and Savior, Christ Jesus. Once we said, yes, God, I believe that Jesus is your Son, your only begotten Son, who you sent to be my Savior. We were blessed with God's Holy Spirit. But then let's go back up one more time. Let's go back up to verse 3. And not only that, but we also glory in tribulations. Why do we understand now the glory in our tribulations? Because in God allowing our nest to be stirred, to be shaken, he's what? He's producing our more and more perseverance in us. He's strengthening us. And in strengthening us through and adding perseverance, now he's adding that character. So you see how that eagle is sitting perched up there? Like, yes, I got this. They're secure because they know that they're being protected by God. They're secure because they know God has outstretched their wings and strengthened their wings so that when they go and they look so graceful, you know how large their wings are. We're just talking about an eaglet, 6 foot. They ain't talking about a full grown. Oh yes, I've got this. The confidence of Jesus Christ that I know why my nest has been stirred and why it is being stirred. Because he's increasing perseverance and he's building and strengthening my character so that I can stand erect and strong. And I'm standing erect and strong in God's hope. What is that hope? That's faith. That's faith that I know God hadn't brought me to. He hadn't brought me to any threshold that I cannot conquer. Because he's strengthening me in it. He's already poured into me. I'm going to fly into that. I'm going to get up. I'm going to mount up on wings of an eagle. Matthew. Now keep your finger right there in Romans. Matthew. Chapter 10. Verse 29 through 31. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them falls to the ground apart from your Father's will? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not fear, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. He knows you. He knows every hair that's on your head. You're the eaglet. He's pouring into you. He's grooming you to be strong, to have perseverance, building your character. But he's telling you, don't worry when you're in the midst of whatever the circumstance is. Don't worry when you're in the midst of whatever the illness may be. Don't worry when you're in the midst of whatever's not going right for you. Don't worry. Why? He told us why. Over in Romans 5, verses 3 through 4. We're to glory in our tribulation. Because why? Tribulation produces what? Perseverance. Tribulation produces what? Perseverance. Perseverance, what? Character. We all want good character, right? Yes. And that character, what? Increases your what? Hope. And that hope is your what? Faith. Faith in who? Yourself? No. Sorry. You just fell out the nest and you got a long fall. You better come up with the right answer real quick. My faith is in who? God. Luke chapter 12, verses 6 through 7. And not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins, and not one of them is forgotten before God. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not fear, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. Now he told us twice. He told us twice. He told us in Matthew, don't fear. I know every hair that's on your head. And every hair that's on your head, I purposed it to be there for a reason. So I said, oh, thank you, God. There's a lot of hairs on your head. A lot of tests, a lot of trials. He said, don't worry about what's going on and how many of them falling out. I got you. Look how many sparrows fall out of the sky every day, and don't worry about it. I've got you. You're of more value to me than the sparrows. And the sparrows glorify him when they very quickly swooping through the air. They're doing what he created them to do. So don't worry about what's going on. Trust him. He's stirring that nest. You trust him in that midst. When that nest is being stirred, and sometimes you feel like you're in an earthquake. Like, oh, wait a minute. I feel like I'm being bounced from one side to the other. What in the world is going on? Trust him. Because he's trying to get you to the edge. Because he needs for you to take flight on something. He needs for you to take flight. He needs for you to start getting it together. Come on. Come on. I need for you to step out here on the edge because I've already poured it into you. But if I leave you here in that comfortable nest, you're just going to wrap back in the corner and wait for me to bring you something else to eat. I need for you to get up and burn off and start to burn what I've given you. Just burn it. Come on. Get up. Get up. Get to the edge of that nest. Can't keep sitting here, being comfortable. I said, Lord, I thank you for building my perseverance. I thank you for deepening my understanding of glorying in my tribulation. Because I'm going to tell you, that's been hard meat to digest right there for years. And years, every now and then, it's still good. You want me to give you glory in this? But now, that thanks be to God, glory be to God that he showed me, I'm stirring your nest because I'm building your character, your strength. Now you want to sit in the nest and be comfortable? You're not going to grow. You're not going to get stronger. Why are you worrying about this? I got you. You're more important to me than any sparrow. I know every hair that's on your head. When I heard that, I said, if you know every hair that's on my head, you know every test and trial that's set before me already. And I trust you in it because you're not going to allow me to come to anything. You're not going to allow anything to go on around me that you have not already prepared me for. You're not going to allow some illness to hit my body that you have not already strengthened me to be, to carry and to be that witness of. To glory in that tribulation where I'm at. Because I'm doing it for you, God. You've given it to me. You've already strengthened me in it. And I'm ready. I'm ready. Tell me how you want me to do, how you want me to glorify you in this. I'm ready. I'm walking the path of college. I'm off to school. And some of us already learned. There's challenges there. You're going to be faced with challenges that's going to take your breath away. And they catch you at times that you're not expecting them. You've got to draw from what you know, what God has put in you in order to be able to stand up. But that's when glory be to God, thanks be to God that he blesses us then to say, okay, see, I shook you out of your nest. I got you out here over here. You right with me. I'm going to stand back and observe you and see all that's been poured into you. All that your parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and church brethren and whomever have been encouraged, been feeling and encouraging you throughout this way, and all that you've been hearing, I'm going to observe you and allow your nest to be stirred a little bit more and see where your faith is. Where's your faith fixed? Is it fixed on me? Or is it fixed on, an individual that you think can help get you through this? It's got to be fixed on. It's got to be fixed on God. We've got to trust him. And he shows us. But if he allows us to sit in that comfortable nest and he never shakes it, get up and look how I've strengthened you. Then you don't ever know. And then you don't grow. Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 11 through 13. And when I pray you go back and read this again and read all the way to the end. As an eagle stirs up its nest, hovers over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up, carrying them on its wings. So the Lord alone led him, and there was no foreign God with him. Speaking here of how he strengthened and comforted him here, and he depended on no one but God. He wasn't looking for that outside. God didn't have, there was no other little g there. It was God that showed him the way. He made him ride in the heights of the earth, that he might eat the produce of the fields. He made him draw honey from the rock and oil from the flinty rock. So here, and I start with 13, but you can continue on to read, because you'll see that being in God's care, being under the covering of his wings, what a blessing it is. What victories we have. We have everything right there in our hand. You don't have to work for it, but it's there. All of the honey that you could possibly want, that sweetness of life, right there. And he's saying, come on. Come on, come on, you got this. Look what I've got for you once you get out and stretch your wings and start to fly. Look what's there for you. In closing, Isaiah chapter 40. Verses 29 through 31. Why does God allow the things that happen in our lives? Good, bad, ugly, stressful, disastrous. Why does he allow it? Why does he shake our nest? If we wait on him and stay under the protection of his wings. Ooh, look, Isaiah 40, 29. He gives power to the weak. And to those who have no might, he increases strength. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I found myself at times past and times recent where I was sitting in the corner of the nest. I was like, you know what, Lord, I don't know, what? He's like, yeah, I'm getting you up out the corner of this nest. I need for you to realize some things. I found myself weak. And after having tried to do and pull and do and think, what else can I do? I was still weak. But when I said, God, show me, Because you told me you would never bring me to anything without purpose. Show me, show me, show me. He said, get on the side of the nest, and I need for you to stretch your wings out. Do you trust me? Yeah, I trust you. You've delivered me time and time again from much, much, much more stressful and life-threatening issues. So why would I not trust you? You gave me strength at my ninth hour. You can give me strength now. He gives us power. He gives power to the weak. And to those who have no might, he increases their strength. Been there. Thank God he was there with me. Thank God he stirred my nest and showed me. See, I showed you. Here it is. You had the strength all along. But see, you were believing in what you could do, not what I could do in you, in this situation. 30, even the youths shall faint and be weary. Uh-oh. Even the youths, our young adults, our teenagers, they get tired. They run out of options. When they run out of options, he's sitting over there on the tree, not far away, just waiting for you to say, okay, God, I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you. In Jesus' name, I need you. And watch, he shows up. And the young men shall utterly fall. Sometimes we just can't see our way to call on him until we have fallen flat on our face. But, I like it. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. You wait. You're in the midst of whatever the circumstance is. You're in the midst of whatever the health issue is. You're in the midst of whatever is not going right. It's not falling right. You're in the midst of it. You can't see. When you're in the middle of something, you can't see what's going on. A little saying that we say in our household, you're in the picture. You got to get out the frame and stand back so you can see. So get out of the midst of it. When you get out, you're waiting. You're waiting on who? You're waiting on the Lord to lead you, to direct your path, to give you the words to say and when to say them. You pray, Lord, I got to get ready to go in this financial aid office. And that old woman sitting at the window, she always cutting her eyes at me and don't want to talk when I walk in. Lord, can you please either give me the words to say to her or have somebody else there at that window. And he ain't going to move that person because that person is a part of your challenge. It's a part of your trial, part of your test. Now you got to pull back. You got to use what he's poured into you. Going in for the job interview that you done been in for 2-3 times already. Lord, you brought me this far. What is it that you want me to say? How do you want me to say it? Time to go in for that. Get your test results from a physical. Time to go in and get test results from some test that the doctor told you, this is what I've seen. Where's your faith? Are you going to speak and manifest what the doctor's seen? Are you going to speak and manifest what God has poured into you that you already know, irrespective to what you're feeling like? Because you are his, created with a purpose, imprinted with a purpose. He's not going to put that imprint on you and it not be glorifying to him. So wherever we find ourselves, whatever state we find ourselves in. We glory we give him glory in that because it's to build our perseverance. Perseverance building our character. Character increasing our hope. And what is hope? Faith. I thank God for this message because, yes, it's very repetitious. But just like when we singing them songs on the radio, they're repetitious too. And we remember them, right? I said, God, I thank you. I thank you. Verse 31, but those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. See, I now understand that. I read it for years. But now I understand. I understand what this mounting up on wings like eagles. Because he's already taught me how to tear the meat up. His word. So that gives me strength. And in that, he told me, don't worry about, I know who you are. I know the hairs and numbered on your head. So he knows what he has set. What is set before us. He's not going to allow any more on us, the psalmist said, than we can bear. He's not going to allow anything that he's not already poured into us to be able to handle, to carry. He's already strengthened our wings. Now we just got to get up and stretch them out. Exercise that. When the nest is being shaken and stirred. Don't go and grab on and hold on. Let me get over here to the edge so I can stretch my wings out and begin to soar in the strength that he's given me in this. So in doing that, they shall run and not be weary, because as God opened this up to me, I was like, okay, Lord, okay, I see it now. I see it now. I can walk and not get weak-kneed and faint. Just want to lay right out because I can't carry no more. Might get tired, but I ain't going to fall. I ain't going to want to just lay down on the floor. Just lay out. I give up. Been there. Been there. More than once or twice. Been there. Trust that it's, you look and you figure, okay, everybody, this person might have it all together. This person has it all together. They're doing good. I want to be like them. No, you want to be like what God has imprinted you to be like. Because in your imprint, he's already poured into you that strength in your wings. In that meat. His word, your wings. Amen. Isaiah 40:29-31. He gives power to the weak, and to those that have no might he increases strength. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength and mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Brethren, we have the victory. Amen. Amen.